This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Rinse takes your laundry and hand-delivers it to your door, expertly cleaned and folded. So you could take the time once spent folding and sorting and waiting to finally pursue a whole new version of you. Like Tea Time You. Or this Tea Time You. Or even this Tea Time You.
Said you hear about Dave?
Or even Tea Time You.
So update on Dave.
It's up to you. We'll take the laundry. Rinse. It's time to be great.
Quick note here at the top. There's some brief, strong language in this conversation. All right, as you were. Over the last few days, I've been trying to puzzle out how the current government shutdown ends. Because this shutdown, it is now the second longest in U.S. history. The path ahead seems fuzzy, right? Like we're in some kind of suspended animation. These things always conclude, of course, one way or another. Take what happened during Trump's first term.
From President Trump today, a new warning. He says the partial government shutdown will last as long as it takes to get funding for a southern border wall.
Trump's 2019 shutdown over the border wall was the longest ever, 35 days. But then government workers started calling in sick.
That the Federal Aviation Administration has announced a full ground stop at New York's LaGuardia Airport. It's because of the government shutdown. There's a shortage of air traffic controllers. They've been calling out sick because...
Within hours, the government had reopened. I called up Jonathan Last from over at the Bulwark because I wondered whether this kind of sudden turnabout was likely now. For those who are counting, we are on day 27 of this shutdown, by the way.
Day 27 or day 270 or day 2,900? I don't know. I mean, time is a flat circle, isn't it? I mean, we're now in year 72 of Trump's second term.
In the past, when things were slightly less broken in Washington, it was decorum and bipartisan negotiating that illuminated a path forward. Like back in 2018, when the GOP engineered a quickie 3-day shutdown, a so-called gang of centrist senators from both parties, they called themselves the Common Sense Coalition, started talking things out. Senator Susan Collins from Maine brought along a Maasai walking stick. A senator could only talk if they were holding it, which was gimmicky, sure, but it worked.
It's like I remember at my kids' hippie Montessori school, they had a peace rose. When two kids had conflict, the teacher would bring them aside and like one person would hold the peace rose to talk about their side. And when they were done talking, they'd hand the peace rose to the other. Anyway,
I think it's much more like Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
It's like much more conch shell situation here.
Well, I mean, all the incentives are gone. It's not clear why anybody would want to resolve the shutdown. Is it? I mean, you know, they can still tear down the east wing of the White House, even though the government is shut down. So what's the point, right? What are the incentives?
Do you think a gang is going to ride in this time?
I don't know.
Who would be in the gang?
The answer is I don't know. I wish I did.
That does not mean Jonathan Last, he goes by JVL with his friends, is out of ideas for how this shutdown ends. It just means the ending is going to look pretty different than what we've seen before. And imagining a way forward requires accepting the facts on the ground.
We don't have a president, we have a king, and he is able to simply fund the parts of government he wants to keep functioning. He has the ability to just sort of buy off problem constituencies.
But he shouldn't be able to do that.
He shouldn't be able to demolish the east wing of the White House either. But he's doing it, right? I mean, we are way past the point of like should be able to. Right? We are in a world of nothing but pure power politics and will to power.
Today on the show, in a world of power politics, Who is going to be able to shut down the shutdown? I'm Mary Harris. You're listening to What Next? Stick around. This episode is brought to you by Home Chef. It's that time of year, the days are getting shorter and a little crisper. If you're finding yourself craving some comforting home-cooked meals but don't have a minute to make that happen, Home Chef is there with easy oven-ready options and hearty recipes that hit the spot without the stress over what's for dinner. Home Chef sent me a bunch of their meals, and I gotta say, the thing I liked about it was that anyone in the house could make the food. I'm talking about my 17-year-old, I'm talking about my 11-year-old, probably. And at the end of the day, it was fresh food that we could all enjoy. We knew exactly what was inside of it. I loved that. Home Chef has everything you and your family need for hassle-free, delicious dinners with over 30 options a week, and they cater to a variety of dietary needs. Home Chef is also rated #1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering What Next listeners 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. So go to homechef.com/whatnext. That is homechef.com/whatnext for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/whatnext. Must be an active subscriber for that free dessert. This episode is brought to you by Saks Fifth Avenue. Saks makes it easy to find the perfect gifts and holiday looks that suit your personal style. The holidays can be a whole lot of things. Fun, relaxing, but also a little stressful because you've got a long list of friends and family and you gotta find a gift for everyone. If you go over to Saks.com, I guarantee it's gonna jumpstart all of your ideas for what you should be getting your friends and family. It is the only website on the internet where you're going to find super high-end luxury Prada sneakers next to a crystal floral A-line gown from MacDougall. And then that's right next to a Cynthia Rowley ombre long-sleeved wetsuit. These are things I did not know existed until I went to Saks.com. And now I'm like, maybe I should be getting a bathing suit for my mom this Christmas. Maybe. Going into this holiday season, I feel confident Saks is there to help me find inspiration, curate a holiday wish list, pick out gifts for my loved ones, and have a look ready whatever might come my way. Whether it's an office holiday party, a cozy night in, or a vacation getaway, Saks has got everything you could want. If you're looking for shopping to be personalized and easy this holiday season, then head to Saks Fifth Avenue for inspiring ways to shop for everyone on your list. Okay, I want to talk about the road for this shutdown ending, but I feel like before we get there, I just want to lay out how the shutdown has gone on so long. You've done some of that already, but I think it's worth teasing out because at the very beginning of the shutdown, I went on cable news. I was sitting there with your colleague, Tim Miller, all the people around the table. None of them really thought the shutdown would last. I thought the shutdown would last because I was like, I don't see a way out of it. But everyone around the table was kind of like, yeah, the Democrats are going to have to cave here at some point. So I think it's worth articulating why that hasn't happened yet. I think one major reason is that the president is simply acting like the shutdown isn't happening. And a lot of other people are just sort of following his lead. You know what I mean? Like, he's just sort of like, yeah, I'm still giving presidential medals of freedom to Charlie Kirk posthumously, and I'm tearing down the East Wing of the White House. Like, business continues apace. Do you buy that?
Yeah, and he's able to, he's using the shutdown to fire a bunch of people that he wants to fire anyway, and to continue to wage war against the parts of the government that he does not care for. And so the shutdown is helping him. It's enabling him to carry out his project. And it has been helping the Democrats so far because, again, they are to the point that one can win the shutdown. Public opinion is with them, and I have never understood why Democrats would cave, but I also assumed that they would. Like, because they're weak and they don't have the stomach.
That's terrible. That says terrible things about the Democratic Party.
I don't know. Does Chuck Schumer strike you as a guy who has the stomach to, like, do what's needed to fight back authoritarianism? I mean, Chuck Schumer may be a great guy, but he's like a peacetime minority leader.
He's a peacetime leader.
Yeah, he's a peacetime leader.
Yeah. I mean, Donald Trump understands power, which is why
Yes.
he's pretending like the shutdown isn't happening and actually actively moving money around to conceal the fact that he's paying people who normally wouldn't be paid during a shutdown. And I think it's worth underlining that, both because it's very different than how shutdowns have worked out before, and also because there are people within the same agencies who are coming to work, and some are getting paid and some aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like the difference is like these guys carry guns and these guys book travel. You know what I mean? Like the guys not being paid or the people doing the behind the scenes work, and the front facing people are getting a paycheck. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this is so think about just the politics of this. The Obama shutdown. Obama went out of his way to take more services offline than needed to be. So like Obama went and put out sawhorses and closed down things like the World War II Memorial in downtown DC. It was like, nope, nobody can go over here because everything's shut down. It's like, what? It's just a plaza. People walk through. You're expending resources by having people stationed here to keep people out of the plaza. But for him, the political theater of it was like, see, I'm going to emphasize to people how much isn't working, because if the government is shut down, all of these things they take for granted stop working. And Trump is just taking the opposite tack, which is, it's all fine. Does he seem like he's in any rush whatsoever?
No, he doesn't seem bothered. No. I mean, the lawmakers themselves, they seem just like stuck on even getting to the table together. Like the Democrats are saying they have to negotiate over healthcare subsidies, come to some kind of agreement about that before they open the government. The Republicans are saying we got to open the government before we negotiate. There's something else here, though, which is some state leaders have begun to signal negotiating over these healthcare subsidies, like the shop may be closed here because, of course, people are choosing their plans now. So people are seeing these increased prices. Does that help or hurt the negotiating position for the Democrats at this point?
I have no idea, because I don't understand why they're negotiating on this in the first place. I mean, I legitimately don't understand if they think this is smart politics, or this is some like Jimmy Stewart, it's just the right thing to do. Like, I genuinely don't understand because it seems so self-evidently insane to me.
Tell me how you'd play it. Like if you were Chuck Schumer, what would you be saying was your ask for reopening the government?
I mean, my position would be the Republicans control the presidency, the Supreme Court, and both chambers of Congress.
So you can reopen it whenever you want.
You guys can reopen it whenever you want. If you would like to have some Democratic votes because you can't govern, then we are happy to talk about making Washington, D.C. a state.
D.C. statehood, that's your ask.
Period. The end. Yes.
I mean, so my take is just like the GOP is not going to give on that. So it doesn't sound like a way out of a shutdown.
Why
do you
though?
disagree?
Why is everything? Oh my God! Sorry, I'm not yelling at you.
You're yelling in my general.
I'm
direction.
not yelling. This is so. You're right. Of course, this is you're not wrong. But this is the world we live in, where it's like, well, of course, Donald Trump is going to try to do away with birthright citizenship because he can sign orders about birthright citizenship. The blatantly unconstitutional executive order. And maybe 5 Supreme Court justices will say he can't do it, but maybe not. We'll see. And sure, I mean, he can just abrogate to himself the tariff power. And sure, he can just literally demolish the East Wing of the White House. But, he's a force of nature. Like,
so why do anything at all?
You can't stop him that, right? But then with Democrats, like, oh, they can't ask for DC statehood because, Republicans just won't go for that. Well, fuck, why?
You can
make your demands.
Ask.
Like this is
that's like a that's like the lesson of negotiating. You can always ask.
I don't understand why Democrats live in the world of, oh, well, that's just not realistic, while Republicans live in the world of, yeah, shit, tear down the White House. Why is that?
I mean, here's, I think, the argument in favor of the maximalist approach you're articulating here. Because when you've written about this, you've written not just about DC statehood. You've been like, sure, ask to end the Kavanaugh stops, ICE pulling over citizens and detaining them. Like, there's all kinds of things you can ask for here.
Ban on mask wearing by law enforcement officers.
Sure. Like, there's a long list here. Lots of things Americans are pissed off about that Democrats could argue need to stop. The argument in favor of your maximalist position, which you've kind of begun to articulate, is that we're 3 weeks into this shutdown. Republicans in the Senate, they could have ended it already simply by getting rid of the filibuster, passing what they want to pass, and moving on. And the fact that they haven't done that betrays a hesitation inside these lawmakers, a reasoning that, like, we don't want to be the ones pressing certain buttons, or we don't want our fingerprints there. So we'll just let the shutdown continue and we'll see how it goes.
Well, if they don't want their fingerprints there and they want Democratic help, then it's incumbent upon them to come to the Democrats with some offers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Why is it that, like, well, what are Democrats doing? It's not on them. Is it?
The problem is that, like, Trump is the only guy who matters in the negotiations.
Right. So why are Democrats negotiating, period? This is what I'm saying. Like, this is, we are functionally living in a monarchy, and until the king comes and makes his ask, why would you negotiate against yourself?
Here's the issue, though. I feel like the only way to do this maximalist approach is to do it all in, by which I mean, if you're going to ask for something big, your hair has to be on fire, like, all the time. You have to be constantly pointing to the reasons why you need this big outcome. And I don't see the Democrats doing that.
Why do you have to do that? Like, why does anybody have to do anything like that? You could just do stuff. Right. The great lesson of Donald Trump is you just do stuff. There has not been a years-long conversation about adding a ballroom to the White House complex. It has not been a 20-year political project to do away with birthright citizenship. Like, these are just things that came into his head. There was no political support for it, and he did them. Okay. So that's how it works. Democrats can do that too.
After the break, why Democrats can't just do that too. At least not yet.
A healthy lifestyle starts with good sleep so your body and mind can recharge. If you're struggling with restless nights and looking for a natural way to wind down without relying on over-the-counter sleep aids, try melatonin-free cornbread hemp CBD sleep gummies. Melatonin is a hormone that can cause grogginess, nightmares, or sleepwalking in some people. So Cornbread Hemp left it out to produce America's first USDA organic, melatonin-free CBD gummy. Fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer with CBD sleep gummies that are infused with full-spectrum, flower-only hemp extract and include natural botanicals like valerian root, lavender, and chamomile. They're vegan, gluten-free, and made without a sugar coating. Just clean, natural ingredients. Rest deeply and wake up ready to move with melatonin-free Cornbread Hemp CBD sleep gummies. Right now, Cornbread Hemp is offering 30% off your first order. Just go to cornbreadhemp.com/whatnext and use code WhatNext at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/whatnext, code WhatNext for 30% off.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game, shifting a little money here, a little there, just hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill, too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
The warning signs are all around us. Record-breaking temperatures, extreme floods, wildfires, and other natural disasters. Animals like polar bears and whales vanishing before our eyes. And the Trump administration is making it worse, rolling back protections and sacrificing the planet that future generations will inherit, all for corporate profits. But when people come together, they can make an impact. Backed by 3 million supporters, NRDC, the Natural Resources Defense Council, leverages the full power of the law to challenge corporations or government agencies that would illegally destroy our environment. They won nearly 90% of lawsuits they filed against the first Trump administration. Now, as their caseload grows, they need your support. Help stop oil and gas drilling in pristine wilderness, protect endangered wildlife from extinction, and safeguard our planet's climate for future generations. Make your gift today. Donate and your gift will be matched 5 times at nrdc.org/next.
So, part of the reason Donald Trump can just do things right now is because he's got every branch of power in the bag. Congress, Senate, the Supreme Court. None of the Republicans in any of these places are pushing back on the president. There's a word for that, which is strongman. Another word would be autocracy. Jonathan Last is not going quite that far. He says we're still in a democracy, but it's a late stage democracy.
What you're doing still looks superficially like democracy, but underneath the hood, what's happening isn't really that anymore. And the people who study democracies have different terms for this. Like they talk about like competitive authoritarian states. And that's, I mean, I'm sorry, it's just obvious that is where we're trending toward.
Oh, I'd argue we're there.
Yeah,
I mean, although I don't know if it's competitive authoritarianism yet.
Yeah,
Do you know
we'll
what
see.
I mean? Like, I don't
We'll
think Donald Trump really has a competitor.
But with, the Texas redistricting, the Missouri redistricting, all the various shenanigans going on, the attempt to undo the Voting Rights Act, which is probably going to happen. It's just a question of whether it happens in time for the 2026 elections. You have a democratic system which is about as far removed from actual liberal democracy as our current economic system is removed from actual capitalism. The market isn't really free anymore. There are now so many externalities choking on it that what you have is either regulatory capture or crony capitalism or state-directed capitalism, which is basically what we have now, right? We have the government taking golden shares in U.S. Steel and taking the position like the U.S. government gets to decide what Nippon Steel even calls the firm U.S. Steel. I don't know if you knew that. That's part of the arrangement. The government gets vetoes over salary negotiations within Nippon Steel. That's a wild thing. The government owns 10% of Intel.
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue the breaking of the capitalist system sort of laid the pathway for the breaking of the democratic system. Do you know what I mean? Like once one is broken, you're like, well, why not break them all?
I mean, although, I think the two are really tethered together and both have been trending in the wrong way for a while. But Trump was an accelerant, right? I mean, you could say we were trending in the wrong way, and that may be true. Trump was a quantum shift, though, and I think has probably made it impossible for us to climb out of the death spiral.
I don't think it's impossible. I think we've had broken democracy before, right? We had a civil war, but we had broken democracy for sure. I mean, not everyone was weighing in.
If your position is, well, we had a civil war and then we came back together after that, sure. I meant there is no way out of this minus something utterly catastrophic. I think a better case for optimism is like the post-Civil War Reconstruction era where we almost had another civil war. I think the historians refer to this as the Age of Acrimony. There's a good book about this, The Age of Acrimony. I'm forgetting the author's name, and I'm sorry. Go to Amazon and look it up. It's great. And very similar to this, things almost came apart. We almost fought a second civil war, and then it just kind of went away. And this is the only case for optimism that I am capable of making to people, is that while we don't have any levers to press really, like where we could rationally hope that they would result in things getting better and us returning to something like liberal democracy, that doesn't mean that the culture and society won't just decide to go back to that on their own. Because this is America and people have short attention spans, and there's another shiny object in 2 years or 10 years, and people just decide, okay, well, I'm done with that. That's no longer fun. The authoritarian king stuff, that was a good laugh, lots of lulls, but let's just go back to other stuff. And it's unsatisfying because there is no resolution to it. There's no denouement, but we never really have resolutions to stuff in America anyway.
But isn't that kind of always the way? You're always perfecting it? Like, as long as we're talking about books, like, I'm sure you've seen Jill Lepore's new book about the Constitution, where she argues that part of the way we got into the situation we're in now is that we haven't been flexible enough with our founding documents, essentially. Like, we need to be able to amend things more. We need to be able to revisit things, open things back up again. And yes, it's painful, but like, you have to keep doing that. Otherwise, things get sclerotic.
Yeah. So this is one of my hobby horses right now, actually. And it's nice to think that, like, oh, well, things can get, you could spray some WD-40 on there and get the rust off, and maybe things will work again. And that's true, you can, but it doesn't always work out that way, right? Not every democracy has a happy ending. And I find it very difficult to assume a happy ending when I look at things. I see so many structural problems, starting with impeachment. So a lot of the Constitution, the design of the Constitution rests on the idea that there is this mechanism to remove a chief executive if the chief executive is bad.
So you're saying the fact that we couldn't do that, it sort of just opened the door to all the rest?
Well, what I'm saying is it turns out that by the available evidence, the mechanism as constructed can't work.
Huh.
Right. It does not work. It's like a doorknob that's not connected to anything.
Because of the political incentives.
Because of the incentives, right. So without the impeachment function, like if you just go back and redline the Constitution, so like impeachment isn't even there, then all of a sudden big parts of it don't make sense. Right? Like, hold on, wait a minute. We're going to give this guy a 4-year term and there's no way to remove him? I don't think the founders would have been okay with that, honestly. You wind up with sclerosis and decadence and a society and people who are totally untethered to reality in ways which I find mystifying. I don't know. Like, I think it's all real bad.
Okay.
This is why you don't have me on the show.
No, I love this. Full sickos mode. You say you can't imagine a happy ending. Can you imagine a happy ending with me for this shutdown? What is a happy ending for this shutdown? Let good JVL out.
For me, a happy ending to this shutdown is anything that Democrats give is fine, so long as they don't bail the Republicans out of the political consequences of their actions. This is, for me, the worst and possible ending to the shutdown is that Trump gives the Democrats what they want and winds up taking away all the political pain which the big beautiful bill is going to cause people. And that's because if I have learned anything from the Biden years, it is that the general public will never give you credit for the bad things that you prevented from happening to them.
Because they never saw it.
They didn't see it. And so they are going to need to get pain. And I'm sorry. And it's very unfair. And I understand that it's privileged of me to say this because I'm not the one who's going to have yada, yada, yada. But that's just political reality, right? You wind up enabling and strengthening the aspiring authoritarian if you, as your price of helping him pass his budget, is you convince him to undo the politically unpopular thing he did.
Okay. Now, the Democrats might say...
What are the Democrats going to say? They're going to say, but we're here to make people's lives better. That's the whole function of government.
They'll definitely say that. But I think the other thing they might say is, well, it's too late to fully save people from this. People are signing up for their health care plans like today, now. Mm-hmm. So people are going to see these big prices, and then we're going to swoop in like Superman and be like, I did that. I erased that. You paid maybe 1 month of premium that was super high, but guess what? You're not going to pay the rest of it because of us, the Democrats, and what we did in Washington.
I mean, I would bet my house that is not a winning political message. You think that the Democrats are going to be able to sell to the broader public 13 months from now that actually they should reward them because remember, we made things better? No, they're not going to get credit for that. Trump will get all of the credit for it. Pain is pain is the great teacher. People should be touching the stove. This is, and Democrats they should be in I told you so mode, not I fixed it and I saved you from it mode.
JVL, I always love having you on the show. Please come back.
Sorry. Sorry in advance.
Jonathan Last, JVL, is the editor of The Bulwark. And that's our show. What Next is produced by Elena Schwartz, Rob Gunther, Anna Phillips, and Madeline Ducharme. Paige Osburn is the senior supervising producer of What Next and What Next TBD. Mia Lobel is the head of audio here at Slate. Ben Richmond is the senior director of podcast operations. And I'm Mary Harris. Go track me down on Blue Sky. Say, hey, I'm at Mary Harris. Thanks for listening. Catch you back here next time.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu? Is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.